and hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Not When. On this special Tuesday, I am so excited because we have such an incredible guest for you all today. So please allow me to introduce David Chow on the show. First of all, if you don't know David, my friend, you really should. David today, he's a serious entrepreneur. After succeeding in his own venture, he became a catalyst for the venture capital ecosystem, starting at Silicon Valley. Today, he's a founder for F50. F50 is a venture capital platform that connecting extraordinary startups with an exclusive network of investors. And it is also where he had many success through his lead investment in the top 30 deals. Just to name a few, my friends, such as Knightsope, which is IPO in a few months, and Doc.AI, so in 20x, wow, plastic, and many more. Today, David also founded Silicon Valley's largest grassroots entrepreneurial community, SVE, where he hosts SVE Talk, SVE Demo. He also is a producer for F50 Global Capital Summit and the F50 Global Insight YouTube channel. Oh my goodness, I am so excited, everybody. Please allow me to welcome and thank you so much, David, for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wen. It's a great pleasure to be here.
So, David, let's dive into your story. Tell us all, how does all the magic begin?
Maybe start from myself. So right now I manage a small fund. We invested into 31 companies. As you mentioned, 2 of them are going IPO next few months, and 2 more are coming on the way. So we also run a small accelerator called F50 Elevate program. We helped 10 companies last 2 years. F50 platform started in 2014 as a goal to connect amazing entrepreneurs with the global investor network. So why is that? Because about 13 years ago, I started a community called the Silicon Valley Entrepreneur Community and Silicon Valley Android Developer Community and iOS Developer Community in Silicon Valley. I was actually an engineer manager, VP of engineer for a tech startup at that time. So as the first generation immigrants here, so I know only small number of people in the Valley other than my working space. So connected people is a very strong interest at that time. Why? Because I started a company called Extended Logic in 2000, I think 2005-06. And I sold them after the 2008 financial crisis. So about myself, so right now, healthtech is my number one sector of interest. And of course, PropTech, FinTech, and deeptech are other sectors I have deep interested in. So far, our most successful companies are healthtech, FinTech, and deeptech companies. So on healthtech, a little bit about healthtech. So actually, I was born in a hospital. I grew up in a hospital in a small town in northwest China. My parents both worked as the healthtech industry for a very long time. My mom actually in her whole life. I still have lots of cousins, uncles, aunts are working on the healthtech industry, all sorts of in like surgery, in Chinese medicine, in diagnostic, and all sorts of areas in the healthtech industry. So I can say I do have a deep connection in the healthtech industry. Actually, in about 2007-08, by the time my company was in trouble because of financial crisis, I have health problems, I have a fatty liver. So it's a small problem, but it causes like a lots of challenges. I went to many different doctors. I went to even Stanford, and they said, "You're very good. You're healthy. You don't have any problem at all." I just don't feel good. I said, "I have some problems." So I decided to practice all sorts of exercise and meditations. Start from then, and lucky enough, I created a very good habit of health. And because of that, I learned a lot of aging and chronic disease. So I sort of become somewhat an expert in that one. Last few years, I have a big interest in the chronic disease. And I realized that the solution for the chronic disease also related another keyword called longevity. Forbes actually just published an article actually yesterday. Asked, are you able to live 200 years old? Forbes' article gave the hint that there's many different technology innovations that can help people to live like 200 years old. Not everybody, but definitely for some of population on the earth can live around 200 years old. Actually, this is very much in line with what I have been looking for the last few years. I believe that the longevity is the chance, and the longer living lifespan for human to change the health industry, but also change the consumer industry, change in our culture of living a lot. That's why I believe that there's a great opportunities in the space, which not only we can bring value to the entrepreneurs, can bring innovation and value to the society, but also there are great business opportunities around aging and longevity. So that's a broad view of what I've been working on. Of course, there are just lots of challenge and stories on the personal level, on the business level. Working with the amazing entrepreneurs is a great experience. We saw many entrepreneurs grow from very young, very small startup to very successful companies. At the same time, working with world leaders in the venture capital ecosystem will be amazing. I had a chance to work with many great leaders like Elon Musk, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and Paul Graham, Manuel Kostler, Tim Draper, who just announced they might move to Austin very soon. So that is a great honor to have opportunity to connect with industry leaders as well as the most innovative startup founders.
Wow. Wow, David, that is, oh my God, such a beautiful journey. And it's so refreshing to see, you are someone that, whether from your own experience, own illness, and truly draw the passion in healthcare and wanted to heal more people and truly wanted to, really have more supporting other entrepreneurs in the field, which is just so incredible to see. And I wanted to kind of bring back just a little bit. You talk about you grew up in a hospital environment, right? So you kind of already did curious about healthcare growing up when you were little. I'm curious, I know that your background actually is engineer. So what brought you into entrepreneurial world to begin with?
So Silicon Valley is a capital of the venture capitalists, but also is a capital for entrepreneurs as well. You can see that in this environment, naturally, you get a lot of knowledge and information about startups. So in 2000, I think 5-6, I started a small company called Extended Logic, doing Android iPhone development. For at that time, it was very new. iPhone was very new, and Android just baking at that time. So it was a very interesting journey. So I started that company with a pretty easy start. At that time, I'm a financial stable. I did some real estate investment, and I started a company. I can say that I was not experienced at all. I just have the courage and energy to get started. Of course, initially it was very successful until the 2008 financial crisis and landed to U.S. market. It has some challenges. So later, of course, because this experience, I started Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. I want to connect many different entrepreneurs like myself, particularly like first-time entrepreneurs and first-generation immigrants who wanted to be entrepreneurs. I want to connect them and help them before they start their company. And that's a big journey. Started in 2008, and was quite a learning process to connect so many grassroots entrepreneurs. And this network also gave me lots of insight and also gave me a footprint in the startup venture ecosystem. So later on, I can start my own fund.
One thing I really admire about you, David, is you can draw from your own experience and truly turn that into an asset to help others, whether it's from a healthcare perspective or this whole world of entrepreneurship you talk about when you started. You had no idea. But then, of course, you stumble and you succeed. And then from there, you wanted to build an incredible network community to help others to succeed in the same venture that you did, which is wonderful. Tell us, today, David, you are extremely successful. You have a lot of incredible ventures and journey. I'm curious, have you ever failed? Or what is your biggest challenge? How are you able to kind of drive on those experiences and come to who you are today?
So venture capital is a very competitive business, as you can tell. The market's doing well, and everybody's doing well. So our fund actually is doing pretty well right now. Of course, there are lots of different challenges on the road to come to this stage. So what I can share is that my challenge and experience in the 2008 financial crisis. At that time, I was running my small startup, External Logic. And at that time, I got my health problem because of all the stress and challenge we're facing. In 2008, I think the mid summer, like August, September, the financial system collapsed, and pretty much all the major clients stopped the services at that time. So we lost most of our clients. We still have few left. So that's a huge challenge. And so at that time, we're struggling. Should we fire the people right away? Should I keep all the people? So we have a big internal meetings, and our teams intend to keep the people. So I think at that time, I look back, that's a huge mistake because it creates lots of liability for us and create a lot of unpaid salaries and unpaid expense at that time. So 2008 was a big learning process for me personally, and also for my team. We actually did react that after, and we optimize our product and the service focus on the latest technologies, iPhone and Android. So what's keeping going? At that time, quite honest, I just think this is something we shouldn't stop, and I should not turn down. I have so many friends, followers, staff looking for me to get the company back to track. We struggled for more than half a year, and we stabilized. And lucky enough, we sell the company to another company, which they are looking for the technology and the team what we had built for last few years. So I would say that's a moderate success. We did not make too much money; we just make a very small amount of money, and we did treat our people pretty well. There's many key decisions we have to make in a very short time of the period. For instance, okay, as a client terminate our projects, how long we should keep our staff, and should we cut our non-core technologies, and how much we should invest into the new technologies, and blah, blah, blah. There are many different questions. Each question has the decision to each questions has own consequences. The consequences is not going to, sometimes it's not going to show immediately, take 3 months, sometimes 6 months, 1 year to feel the consequences. For instance, we decided to enhance our investment in new technology, particularly iPhone technology. That is 2008. iPhone is very new. Android is just announced. That is a very high risk move at that time, because that move are near term cash flow get worse. But that's why our company got acquired, because we do have the new technology and the new team. So I would say that it's a big decision and a very risky decision. I just say I made it.
When 2008 hit, when your business is under so much stress, whether it was a team, with a product, with the market, right? You as a leader, everybody is looking at you to making those tough decisions, tough calls. Like, is there any moment you felt like you might not able to, or you or the business might not able to have a second day? And how do you keep pushing such a challenging time? Because we all remember 2008 is not a piece of cake. So how do you, in that time, still remain calm and poised, and then leading the team to make the right decision, leading to the success later?
So I write down a piece of paper hanging on my office that the end. The end means the future. So look at the end. The end, you will be successful. I use that one. I read that one again. Every time I saw challenges and I'm struggling, I said, well, we will be successful one day. And that's what I keep telling myself. Of course, there's other challenges. I did refinance of my house and get some money. And the money is not enough to get everything going, but money was good to ease some of the short-term challenges. I use all sorts of ways to make sure the company have basic cash to operate and keep going. So at that time, honestly, other than what I believe, and I'm brave enough to keep going, and secondly is that I do believe the technology. I think the technology, iPhone and Android are the future. Because at that time, I organized lots of events for Google. I organized the first HTML5 hackathon at Google. I organized the first Google TV hackathon, first and largest Android developer hackathon. I learned a lot of exciting new technologies. That gave me confidence that this is the future. That's how I get going.
Wow, I love that. Really, it's a faith, the courage, and the hardworking, really, and how you to keep pushing. And in that such a challenging time, today you have, oh my God, such a wonderful success looking back. So David, back to you, your journey. And later on, you start SVE, you start F50. So tell us, what is your thought process behind what inspired you to start those ventures, and why are you so passionate about today supporting entrepreneurs just like you were once? Well,
I started F50. I already sold my company for a few years, more than 2 years before. I was working in a company called Great Wall Club, GWC USA. I was the CEO. I started the USA business. And we are connecting world-class leaders. So from globally, including the leaders from China, Japan, Taiwan, India, together with the leaders in Silicon Valley. I host a conference called Global Mobile Internet Conference in San Francisco. That was one of the largest mobile internet conference. Remember, Android and iPhone are considered also mobile internet. So I think that's the opportunity for the age of the mobile internet age. I think we caught that tree and move forward with what the world and Silicon Valley is moving forward to. So mobile internet is booming in the earlier 2010. So I got a chance to connect many innovative leaders around the world, including local. I met programs. Before I started the company, I met many different great entrepreneurs at that time. I was thinking, what is the best way for me to help them? I asked many of my friends, so what's the best way for me to help the entrepreneurs? And so many of my friends asked, can you find the best of best so we can put the money to support them? I said, that sounds an easy task. I tried. Actually, it is extremely difficult because I was running the entrepreneur community. We run lots of demo events. It's very easy. Oh, you guys entrepreneur, great! I want to support you. So on the other hand, we decided to give money that is a completely different level of due diligence and understanding. So it's a completely different way to look at the startup ecosystem anymore. Because we realized that by the time we decided to do investment, we realized that, the reality is that 98% of entrepreneurs are not fundable. So I have this fight of, I call it a problem in my mind. Okay, on the one hand, I'm running entrepreneur network. So, I should help every entrepreneur who has a dream. On the other hand, I want to wear the investor hat. I realize that, only 1%, actually less than 1%, I can be successful. As we invest in 2% of them, actually, among the 2%, only like a small percentage of entrepreneurs can be eventually successful. So that's a big difference of how I see the world. But I decided to do it. So I realized that the most the value brought to this world are the best of the best entrepreneurs who can change the world for us. So I lost a lot of opportunities. I think the best of best entrepreneurs who has the passion, has the energy, has the right idea, who indeed need help. We want to side with them and help them to achieve their goal. And that's where we started F50. F50 started with a small platform company running the season selection process, and also a F50 venture fund, and do the investment to the startups in our ecosystem. So F50's biggest mission is find and identify the entrepreneurs who has the ability to change the world. We want to connect them with the global investor and network. So that's what we want to do.
How is that journey or transition from being an entrepreneur yourself and now becoming investors and supporting entrepreneurs?
So as entrepreneurs, it's a very different way to see the world. Entrepreneurs, we focus. Education is what do we want to? I would say that even as a venture capitalist, I'm also an entrepreneur as I'm running a platform, and you can see that the venture fund is also a business on itself. And so transition definitely is not easy. There are lots of challenges to see the world. And as I said earlier, before I started investment, I see every entrepreneur as a friend, as somebody I want to help. As a venture capitalist, I realized that there's only a small number of entrepreneurs I can indeed help. And also there are a small number of entrepreneurs can indeed be successful. So this means that as a venture capitalist, naturally, I'm required to spend time with a small number of entrepreneurs. That is what I had been doing before. So it's kind of a change of heart. There are lots of changes. And also, as a venture capitalist, since we have engaged with many different entrepreneurs, and naturally at the beginning, we've been trained to be skeptical of every pitch, because every entrepreneur's pitch story typically is bigger than what they can deliver in the near future. Sometimes some people are very far away, some people are very close. We want to find out the people who are close to their dream, not the people who are very far from the dream. So there are lots of difference between entrepreneurs and venture capitalists.
So today, since we are on the topic, tell us, what are the investment thesis you have today, and what kind of entrepreneurs, specifically, is there any kind of portfolio or a profile of him or her you are looking for, you like to work with?
So on the portfolio part, right now, our number one sector is healthtech. As I said earlier, is chronic disease and longevity and aging challenges is a big interest for me personally, as well for the business. We think the entrepreneurs in this space has not drawn enough attention. Of course, right now, most of investment in the health tech space are focused on curing the disease, and especially curing the disease which cause death. So that's why I divided the innovation in health tech in 4 levels. The first level is stop the challenge, stop people from dying. It's like heart failure, liver failure, and brain failure. All those failures. How do we stop those diseases from cost of the we call organ failure, which means the death of the human. So we had as a society, this the money, vast majority of money had been invested in this space for a very, very long time. The next area, because second level is make sure people are living, like say fix the small problems in the health innovation, for instance, fix your stomach disease, fix your skin disease. All those things are not death-threatening, but definitely has an impact on people's life. So we are fighting with the disease. On the past 100 years, these 2 categories probably are the most of investment in the health tech space. I want to highlight the third level we call make people live better. Make people live better, I'll give you a couple of examples called preventive medicines, preventive cares. All sorts of technologies should be used to make people live better instead of just fighting this disease. I saw a statistic that one of the insurance companies says that probably 70% of their insurance spending or claims were used to support people's life as their last 14 days. What that means that the investment in the healthcare during the people's life, where people were not that seriously ill, were trivial, is nothing. So this means that people, this society, this world spend most of our money to prevent us from death instead of putting money to live better. I think we can make a small change. We don't need to make a drastic change because a small percentage, like a 5% change, means significant change. So we think that health is a healthier life should be what this society should spend more time to work on.
Wow, that's incredible. I would never thought that, but that totally makes sense. And that's why you are today so passionate about healthcare tech, which, of course, is so wonderful. And I'm curious, today, David, you through your organization, through your networking, you meet so many entrepreneurs. And you mentioned earlier, there are small percentage entrepreneurs actually will succeed. I'm curious, is there a characteristic, is there a profile that people you are looking for your own, and in terms of who do you think will be successful? Like what kind of person you're looking for?
So that's actually a pretty big question. So typically, we will look at, I will give a shorter version. We will look at a startup, we're looking for a founder, we're looking for 2 things. Number one, the sector. And so since we are early stage investors, we are looking for innovations. Most innovative technology in the space means the leaders. So we don't look at the followers. And so I hear many pitches that some startups said, okay, I can do this better than those startups who had raised $1 million or $10 million or $20 million. I can do significantly better. Typically, that's not the right pitch. And typically, when you see somebody raised $10 million in that particular sector, probably there are like 20 companies already get funded. And another 50 companies got started and did not get a chance to raise any money at all. So that's the sign of a very competitive market. We are not here to support companies to fight and win over competition. We want to find companies who are innovative enough to be better, significantly better than anyone else, and the leader in that particular space. Number one. Number two is that we look at the founder itself. So why is very important. Without a proper why, most founders cannot last for a few years. They're going to be very short, and they're going to be facing lots of challenges. Typically, it would take like 8 to 12 years for startup to be very successful. And 10 years is a very long time. If you start a company in 30, this means your golden age from 30 to 40 are in one company. That's a significant commitment in one way. On the other hand, I'm sure you read the story. It's not going to be easy like climbing hills. No, you're going to go lots of challenges. You're going to go to trap, you're going to climb the hills, you're going to face challenges, you're going to face problems, and you may have health challenges, all sorts of problems there. So we want to look at the founders to make sure they have a great passion, a great why, great reason to support them to overcome all those challenges for next 10 years. So to drive them successful. Of course, it's easier said than done. To get those proof you can get over 10 years, need lots of information. We make sure they have a passion. We make sure they have a history. Make sure they understand the sector. More importantly, we need to make sure they have a team. One of the most common questions I get asked, hey, you guys give the money, we'll have the team. That's a terribly wrong answer. Nobody invests a founder with no team. They'll just expect invest give money to buy the team. We want to looking for a founder who are nature leader, who can draw followers, who can draw their friends, to join them and take out the risk before the venture capital invests the money. So that's one of the important things we are looking for. So with the passion, with the energy, with the reason why, and with the team, and then the company has a far better chance to be successful.
So now I'm going to pivot the question just a little bit. Today, David, you have done so much. You have seen so much. I'm curious, what does definition of success means for you? And for that, do you think you are successful today?
Depends on what is the success. If you use the success, I define like maybe 20 years ago, when I just came to America as a first generation immigrants, I think I'm very successful with that standard. I achieved many goals I have never imagined myself can do in last many years. However, as a venture capitalist, I don't think I'm very successful. This is a very competitive market, although our fund is very successful, but still a long way to go to align with the great entrepreneurs in the next decade. What I believe is that in order to be a successful entrepreneur slash venture capitalist, one of the biggest evaluation is that can I be part of the most innovative tech startups in the chronic disease and health tech space in the next 10 to 20 years. If that's done, then I will consider myself as a good success. Right now, I can say that I'm working on it. I want to be an influential person in this space. I want to be the voice for the longevity and aging challenge. I'm still working on it.
Today, I know that you are so passionate about longevity or all the healthcare topic. I'm curious, what inspired you? What made you happy outside of the work, the investment?
In 2008, where my company has some challenges, I learned lots of different ways to improve the health of myself. And that's a great learning process. Because I went to Stanford, they said I'm okay. They don't find any problem at all, but I just don't feel I'm healthy. So I'm trying to learn a lot, like meditation, Tai Chi, and exercise, stretching. Believe or not, I do lots of exercise this year, particularly after I moved to Austin, Texas. It's a great place to live. I do yoga several times a week, and I exercise meditation several times a week. Those meditations help me a lot to thinking the breakthrough. Also, last 8 years, before, including my previous company, I got a chance to connect with many most amazing founders in the health tech space, including longevity companies, including remote telemedicine companies. One of the company called Zerx, one of the top Y Combinator health tech company. So the company was very successful. I met many founders in their very early stage. I also talked with one of the founders do the therapy for the cell therapy. They are incubated by Peter Thiel's Breakthrough Labs. I talked to founder many times. I learned a lot about all the different ways in this space. Then I realized that, well, the past, the way we define health tech innovation is very small scope. We divide health tech into pharma, biotech, and devices, blah, blah. There's a couple of things. What we realize that there's many new ways innovation are coming along. For instance, new material, new robotic technologies. And we saw the new robotic technologies are used in diagnostic in the body and also use the surgery in the body. And just one of the examples. We see many, many different new innovations. Another example like artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been widely used in health tech last few years, which help us to break through many different areas, which was a big barrier like 5 years ago. So in other words, we see a big wave of new technologies emerging into the health tech industry, which can help us fight with the disease as well as improve people's lives in a significant better than what we have done before. That's why I saw tremendous opportunities live in front of us.
If you will give yourself, a 30-year-old self, a piece of advice, David, what would you say to yourself?
What I see myself is that as first generation immigrants to America, I came from Singapore last century, have a dream and work on the dream. And of course, connected with my own experience is what keeps me moving. I should focus on the dream and put more effort and work on that one for next 20, 30, or maybe 50 years.
And since you mentioned about you were immigrants and you had a dream when you come to this beautiful world, I'm curious, what's your interpretation? What's your thought about what American dream meant for you?
I was very lucky. Came to Silicon Valley after I came immigrant from Singapore. And Silicon Valley is the heart of the innovation, heart of the venture capital world. Give me lots of information and knowledges and network I could had never imagined even when I just arrived here. So that's what the American dream is about. Empower people like me, like a minority and first generation immigrants, and achieve something I had never imagined myself. I believe that's a great dream and great picture for the future for new and young immigrants.
I love that. So David, speaking of dreams, my last question for you is, if today entrepreneurs are watching and he or she wanted to pitch the idea, whether it's to you or other VC, because they have this big dream in their heart, what piece of advice you will share, from the VC perspective, enable him or her to be successful on their fundraising journey?
Fundraising is a very big task. And many founders underestimated the difficulty of the fundraising. My suggestion are two. Number one is that spend more effort, learn your cash flow, learn alternative financing, and make sure you have a solid plan on the money side. Right now, the VCs are far more conservative than like 5 years ago. Secondly, find a friend, find a network, and make sure you can convince your friends and your network support you before you can ask VCs for money. If you have all those above, then you have a far better chance to have a conversation.
Wonderful. I love that. And I really want to thank you so much, David, for joining us today to share your insights. You have so much passion, so much love to all the fellow entrepreneurs, and just seeing what you've done in your past and really taking those journey, taking those experience inside. Today, you are so passionate about helping others in the health tech journey is so inspiring. So really want to say thank you so much, David, for your time. And thank you, everybody, for you all watching. I really hope that you enjoy as much as I do. And until next time, my friends, be happy. We will see you